When Daniel first found the button, he thought it was a joke. A small, unmarked square of dull metal embedded in the back of his closet wall, flush with the wood, impossible to remove. It had no wires, no label, nothing to explain why it was there, just a single word carved faintly above it, almost as if scratched by hand, reset. At first, he assumed it was some leftover quirk of the apartment's previous owner. But one night, after an argument with his girlfriend that ended with her storming out and saying things she couldn't take back, Daniel stood staring at that word. His hand hovered, heart racing, and then, with a sudden impulse, he pressed it. The world blinked, not in light, but in sensation. He found himself back at the beginning of the evening, standing in the kitchen, holding the same glass of water he had before she arrived. His phone buzzed with her message, "Be there in 10. The fight hadn't happened yet. He stood frozen, the weight of déjà vu pressing on his chest. Slowly, carefully, he changed what he said when she walked in, and just like that, the night was different, better, perfect, even. The power was intoxicating. At work, he used it to erase embarrassing conversations. During poker games, he reset until he won. Each press gave him a chance to polish reality, to cut away mistakes, until life flowed like a story he authored. He stopped fearing accidents, failure, rejection, because nothing was permanent, nothing except him. Only Daniel remembered. But cracks appeared. At first, small things. A coworker paused mid-sentence one day and stared at him strangely, as if she too had felt a shift. His neighbor's dog barked furiously every time he passed, though it never had before. Then came the dreams, dark corridors filled with mirrors, each one reflecting different versions of himself, whispering questions he didn't understand. One evening, he reset after narrowly avoiding a car crash. The relief lasted only seconds, because when the world blinked back, something was wrong. The colors were muted, the air felt heavy, and people didn't look at him quite the same way. Their eyes lingered longer, unblinking, as if they knew. He reset again, desperate, but each time the world returned a little stranger. Daniel began keeping track of his resets in a journal. Day after day, the number grew. 50, 100, 200. Time itself felt thin, fragile, like he was wearing it down. He tried to stop using the button, but temptation always returned. He told himself it was the last time, then another, and another. One night, unable to sleep, he pressed it again, just to see. When the world blinked back, his apartment was gone. He was standing in a vast empty field under a black sky with no stars. In front of him were rows of other people, thousands, maybe millions, staring blankly ahead. Each one held a journal identical to his, filled with desperate scribbles. Some looked terrified, others broken, some catatonic. The realization struck him like lightning. They were all resetters, people who had pressed their buttons too many times, burning through the fabric of reality until they fell out of it entirely. A voice rose around him, soft but everywhere at once. "Do you see now? The button was never yours. It was a test." He spun, searching for the source, but there was only the endless field and the hollow-eyed faces. "Send me back," he whispered. "I can stop. I'll stop." Silence answered. Then the horizon rippled, and he saw himself, another Daniel, living the life he had tried to perfect, laughing with his girlfriend, winning at cards, smiling at the sunrise. The other Daniel didn't know about the button. He didn't need to. He was free. Daniel reached toward the vision, but it dissolved into smoke. Around him, the other resetters began to fade, swallowed by the void one by one. His journal slipped from his hand, pages fluttering as they turned blank. The voice spoke again, colder this time. "You pressed reset too many times. Now there is nothing left to reset." And as the last trace of the world dissolved around him, Daniel realized the cruel truth. Sometimes mistakes were what made life real. Without them, reality itself erased you.